Welcome to the Point of View. I'm your host, Mike D, aka DDE80, aka 13th Wonder of the World, aka Mike DZ. How y'all doing on this Saturday, May the 3rd, 2025 at 12:25 p.m. here in the central of the South Central, ladies and gentlemen. Not Louisiana, not California, but Louisiana. Excuse me. We're here. Shout out to the Point Place family. Shout out to Bobby Reezy. Love you, brother. Shout out to M Breezy. Naya, whose birthday's coming up soon. Her 13th birthday. Love you, niece. My sister. Love all y'all. Thank y'all for listening to the Point of View. Coming soon, back to Podbean, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, I'm enjoying this little app I'm on doing it. I know ain't no music popping up and all that stuff there, but I'm going to get back to that right now. I'm just going cold acapella with the podcast for right now. Yeah, man, today we're going to just basically talk about a few things. It's still, we're going to get to the WWE releasing a lot of wrestlers yesterday and still doing it today. We're also going to get into the talk of the 2 Game 7s that are taking place this weekend and the beginning of a second round NBA game between the Pacers and the Cavaliers. My opinion on that. What happened? What's the next move for the Lakers? A lot of people are talking about this could be the end of LeBron in the NBA. Could be his last season. He could be retiring, which I got a strong opinion about that as well. It's kind of like the same opinion me and somebody was talking about, and Gilbert Arenas, which I didn't watch his podcast. I usually watch it, but I saw the little memes and the little sound bites that he had, and me and him had the same statement and the same agreement with what he said, and I'll get into that in a few minutes. First of all, let me get into what's happening in the world of WWE wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday, I didn't even know this. I was knocked out until I woke up and I watched most of SmackDown. I saw, of course, Randy Orton still pumping up his match with John Cena. I saw that Tiffany Stratton has a bunch of challengers for her title. I found out that we're going to have a fatal 4-way for the title, the United States title of Jacob Fatu's, Aleister Black destroying The Miz, Chelsea Green still trying to get back her women's United States title, and R-Truth messing with Randy Orton, Jimmy Uso in the background, Solo making comments still for Jacob Fatu. I think the bloodline's going to break up soon. I think they're going to split the bloodline. Hearing about a situation that I talked about when it first happened a couple of weeks ago with Roman Reigns and CM Punk could possibly be teaming up to take on Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker at one of the big shows coming up this year, either Money in the Bank or SummerSlam. I think SummerSlam, remember, SummerSlam is 2 nights in August. So we're going to have SummerSlam that Saturday as well as that Sunday night. Backlash look like it's about to be primed up for a nice card coming up next weekend. And then, of course, NXT at the end of the month is going to have Battleground. I think that's going to be the Saturday before Memorial Day, if I'm not mistaken. But let's get into it, man. WWE yesterday made a bunch of massive cuts. Not only salary paid workers, but also the active wrestlers that has been released. And I can name most of them that's been released. Former NXT Tag Team Champion Cora Jade has been released. After this girl came back from an injury that kept her out for almost close to a year, WWE decides to release her. Okay, she's gone. Former women's tag team champions, as well as NXT women's tag team champions, Kayden Carter, Katana Chance, which I think one of them is the girlfriend of Damian Priest. She's gone. They're both gone. Great tag team. Got drafted to SmackDown in the trade, and they didn't do nothing with them. Jakar Jackson, who's part of Metaphor. And let me also say this. Two of the 4 members of Metaphor has been released. Not Lash Legend, but Obel Mensah, who was on WWE Evolved. He's been released along with Jakar Jackson. Big shock, because I thought that they were going to do something with Jakar Jackson. If WWE's not going to do nothing with her, TNA will do something with her. Because the ones that were released from NXT has only a month to sit out, and then they could go sign with the rival promotion. I think that Jakar Jackson will be a member of TNA. Eddie Thorpe, who I thought had all the potential in the world, was just in a huge rivalry with Obel Mensah and with Trick Williams. He's gone. He got released. Not only him, but his old lady as well, Dakota Kai, who should have been, listen to me very closely, no disrespect to Lyra. I think Lyra is one of the greatest, not greatest, but one of the best, let me say it like this here. She's one of the best upcoming wrestlers in the business. Lyra Valkyrie, whatever you want to call her, is one of the hot upcoming wrestlers in the business. I thought that Dakota Kai should have became the first ever women's Intercontinental Champion because she fit the bill for that. And after you saw that she was not even on the scene with EO or with the rest of them. Because I think it's only EO with her now. I don't know where Carrie Sane is, Carrie Sane, where she is. And of course, Asuka is still out. It's very interesting to see what's going to happen with that, folks. Very interesting. Braun Strowman released. The second time in 2 years, Braun Strowman has been released from WWE. No doubt about it. Braun Strowman could go to TNA. He would be a monster. They would pump him up and make him the champion. Not only him, but they would also make the bill if he was in AEW. If he was in AEW, he'd be an unstoppable monster, Braun Strowman. Gigi Dolan, no doubt about it. She got released. She will be in TNA because Zachary Wentz is there, and that's her old man. She's going to follow him. You know, Danny Palmer. Danny Palmer's going to be somewhere, probably TNA. You got to think about this. TNA is going to pick up a couple of these guys from the WWE, especially from NXT. They are. You want to know why? Because they're going to probably end up in matches with the stars of NXT right now. Watch what I tell you. Braun Strowman, Kayden Carter, you know, Katana Chance, they're all released. Main roster got Cora Jade released. This is a big, big deal because after WrestleMania each year, this happens. This usually takes place before SummerSlam because I remember one year they let Ali and they let Dolph Ziggler go right before SummerSlam. You know, and I hope they get back on their feet. And most of them are going to be back in WWE soon. I think Triple H will bring them back. But here's somebody, and I heard somebody talk about this on a smart or short on YouTube. Shinsuke Nakamura. WWE is dropping the ball with Shinsuke Nakamura. And I will give you a reason why. Because after he lost the United States title to LA Knight, he was only a placeholder for LA Knight to just lose the title to Jacob Fatu. Now, let me say this, and let me say this with all due respect to the WWE brass. Shinsuke Nakamura is one of those guys that you could put in the ring with anybody and make a star out of with him. When this guy came about, 8 years, 7 years ago, 6 years, 8, 9 years ago, he was fighting against guys like John Cena. Almost ended John Cena's career in a match on SmackDown. He had that excellent, listen to me closely, that excellent rivalry with AJ Styles when AJ Styles was the WWE champion. Great, I'm talking about absolutely great chemistry with him and AJ. I think you should go back to that before you let Shinsuke Nakamura leave the company. That's just my thoughts. If I'm WWE, I'm going to Shinsuke and I'm asking him, who do you want to fight before we might consider releasing you? Because that's what's going to end up happening. He is going to be a part of these budget cuts soon because they don't know what to do with him. He had a great main event pull with Seth Rollins the year before. He had last year, a great rivalry with Cody Rhodes. And after that, he did nothing. He won the United States title from LA Knight last year, only to lose it back to LA Knight so that LA Knight could put Jacob Fatu over to become the champion. Business is crazy, man. They don't know what are they doing with Shinsuke Nakamura. They don't know. They need to figure out what they're going to do with Shinsuke Nakamura. If I'm them, if I release him and take him from under the WWE brass, there's no doubt in my mind AEW would pick him up with the instant, and there's no doubt in my mind that TNA would pick him up and TNA would make him their world champion. He would be X Division all day long, and he would become the TNA world champion if he was in TNA. Or in Ring of Honor, he would be the Ring of Honor world champion. Or he would become the AEW, probably AEW TNT champion. I'm just telling you, if you're going to do something with Shinsuke Nakamura. You send him back to NXT. Who is he going to beat? I would love to see him go one-on-one with Ricky Saints. That's what I'd love to see for the North American title. You've got to figure this out with Shinsuke Nakamura. You're wasting his talent. And I can tell he's frustrated with what's going on with him. Because he should have been in a WrestleMania match. He should have been the one that went up against Randy Orton. And no disrespect to Joe Hendry. I know that he's the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. I can agree with him. I can say that, but I'm just speaking grade A facts right here, folks. And the fact of the matter is this. I think that Joe Hendry, and I'll say this again, I think that Randy Orton should have had a match with Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania. That would be a great rivalry for Randy Orton if they were to do that. But since they're not doing it, find Shinsuke Nakamura something to do before you lose him. And that goes out. I'm talking to everybody that's in charge of WWE, from Triple H to The Rock, whatever heat they got going on where they're not getting along, they need to figure it out. They need to work that out. From Nick Khan to Ari to Shawn Michaels to all these guys that has a say over creative in WWE. Find something for Shinsuke Nakamura to do before you lose it. That's all I can say about that. You know, and that's a part of what's going on in the business of WWE. I think there's going to be some more releases coming. You're going to be shocked if there's still more releases, because there's going to be people, and I'm hoping that I'm not saying this, but I'm hoping that it's not nobody that wrestled last night on SmackDown that is going to be released. Shayna Baszler, I forgot about her. Shayna Baszler, who has been under the WWE umbrella for like what? Almost 8-9 years? She's gone. So you let Sonya Deville walk. Now you let Shayna Baszler walk. You think for 1 second that TNA wouldn't pick up Shayna Baszler? You think for 1 second that with Marina Shafira in AEW with Jon Moxley, you don't think that she would go over there with Marina Shafira? What are you smoking? Shayna Baszler would dominate in TNA. Masha Slamovich, as good as she is, she would not have a chance going up against Shayna Baszler and the style she has. WWE made her tone down the way that she performed because she was a mixed martial artist. And when you're in the business of professional wrestling, you have to dumb down how you perform. From Kent Shamrock to all of them that was a part of the USC MMA thing, you gotta slow it down. Matt Riddle, all these guys had to dumb down because now you're a part of a choreography type business, which is professional wrestling, sports entertainment. It's predetermined, but you got to still carry out the mission. It's exactly what it is. And also I want to give a shout out to Pretty Deadly. One of them got injured last night, and I'm hoping that they're okay as well. But back to what I was saying about WWE, man. This is crazy. This happens every year. Right after WrestleMania, before a big pay-per-view, WWE starts with the budget cuts. They let people walk that they don't think can utilize them. Because here's the thing, and I'm gonna say this. If Triple H wanted you there, you would not have gotten cut. Because of you not being on television. And these are some people that were not on television. That's why he cut them. Now, Gigi Dolan and them was a part of TNA. Cora Jade was just a part of TNA. Cora Jade was actually in a tag match with Roxanne Perez at Stand and Deliver, which is their WrestleMania in NXT. So it's crazy. This is how the business is, folks. And a lot of people need to understand WWE also can be cutthroat with what they do as well. I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but that's exactly what it is. It's a cutthroat business at times. You make money off the business, but then the business swallow you up at times when they pull cutthroat situations like this. That's tough. That is so tough to hear that they ended up getting released from their jobs. And I hope that they can get to AEW and TNA and make something happen. Very, very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, let me switch gears and let me get on the NBA and let me talk about LeBron James. I did not want to talk about this the other day because I see Ant-Man with all the trolling of LeBron and all this stuff here. I've heard everybody say it's time for the Lakers to get out of the LeBron era and things like that. They need to figure out to get him out of LA, let him go somewhere else. Where do you think LeBron's going to go if he leaves LA? There's only one spot he's going to go to, and that's Cleveland. He is going to go to Cleveland for a third term to try to win another championship for the city of Cleveland. And especially if the Lakers are talking about getting rid of him. There's not going to be too many more spots LeBron's going to go to. He's either going to re-sign with the Lakers for the last season. I think this is going to be the last rip. Or he's going to go to Cleveland and go play with Garland and those boys. And that's going to be what that is. But also remember this, guess what? Bronny's probably not going to go. You want to know why Bronny's not going to want to go? Not going to go because he's under a contract with the Lakers. But if he wants to stay in LA, here's what they need to do. They need to get a center. I don't know why J.J. Redick did not play Jackson Hayes in Game 5. I don't understand that one bit. Why is he trying to play small ball and Rudy Gobert, who does not, and I'm going to leave it at that because Rudy Gobert is still an NBA player. I'm not gonna. Rudy Gobert is the cause of what happened in the COVID era, in the pandemic era back 5 years ago. It was because he's the one that started it. Touching all on the mics and rubbing and thought it was a game. Until they shot the season down. He's the reason why the pandemic era kind of started. You mean to tell me this man had 27 points, 20 rebounds, just out rebounding the Lakers? Because they did not put Jackson Hayes in the game. And that is a coaching issue from yours truly, J.J. Redick. And I like him, but that was a bad coaching move by him. Lakers could have possibly won, and we could have still been playing right now for a Game 7. Didn't happen. Congratulations to that man. He got his revenge on Luka. But let me say this. Do I think LeBron James is going to retire next season? Probably. But if that happens, the Lakers are going to have to figure out a way to maximize the era of Luka and LeBron for them to try to get a fifth championship. I think LeBron James is going to take a huge back seat and let Luka do it his way. Here's the thing that Luka needs to do while he's off. It's still fresh. I know he's hurt. Dallas is laughing because the Lakers didn't make it that far, and they didn't even make it out of the tournament to get qualified for the playoffs. So they can't be doing too much laughing, skinning, and grinning. But let me also talk about something else, ladies and gentlemen. Luka Doncic needs to start learning how to play defense. This offseason, he needs to be in the gym learning how to become a defender. He has to learn how to play defense, folks. He's a great offensive player, but defense sucks. His defense sucks. That's why Ant-Man was doing what he could do to him and things like that. Also, let me also say this. I think that LeBron will have a farewell tour. He's not just going to retire like this. He's coming back. He is coming back for at least another season or two. But there's one thing he's going to get a catch to. He's going to ask them. He's going to ask the Lakers one thing. And you know what that one thing is? What can y'all do to help me and Luka win a championship? because I think LeBron James could get that fifth championship. He's a 3-time gold medal winner. He's a 4-time NBA champion. He's the first ever in-season champion. He's a 3-time All-Star MVP. He's the #1 all-time leading scorer, which I think nobody's going to catch that. Luka may be the next one in line to catch it. You've got to figure this out. There's got to be a situation that is very appealing to bring LeBron James back to the Lakers. And I think I know one situation that could happen, but the Lakers are going to have to figure out a way to break bread to make it happen. There's 2 people right now in the NBA, beside 3 people, 4 people right now in the NBA that are not happy. Stars. 2 of them are LeBron and Luka. You want to guess who's the other 2? Kevin Durant's not happy. Neither is Giannis. And I'll tell you why. Kevin Durant didn't even sniff the playoffs this year. Kevin Durant had a wasted season this year. And I'll tell you why. The man was durable most of the season. Kevin Durant, for the last 2 seasons, Kevin Durant has been available to play basketball, coming off 2 ACL injuries like Klay Thompson. Kevin Durant has been very, 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 very durable. And you know what happened? You want to know what happened? He was on a team where Bradley Beal and Devin Booker at times wasn't cutting the mustard. And it had to do with a lot of injuries. I understand that injuries play a huge part in how a season goes in the NBA. If you don't believe me, look at Philadelphia. Look at the debacle that they had in Philly this year with Joel Embiid and Paul George. Wasted goods. That's what they were this year. They were wasted out there. So let's talk about this other thing. Giannis, because once again, like I said, he was durable the whole season. Giannis played most of his 82 games. I think he missed he played 70, something like that. I could be wrong. But I know that he was available. And he should be a contender in the MVP talk because he does it every year. He plays hard all the time. But guess what happened? Exactly. He's out. Out in the first round. LeBron out in the first round. Giannis out in the first round. So let's say the Lakers make a push to try to get Giannis in LA. If he leaves Milwaukee and goes to LA, guess what that does for LeBron? That makes LeBron not have to work as hard as he used to. LeBron wants somebody, and Luka was the one. And I know that they played, half a season together? And that's probably why. But I don't think LeBron James is going to retire unless the Lakers can make some moves that are championship type moves. They need a center. They need a big man. Do I think you could do with Luka, LeBron, and Giannis? And this is just me hypothetically speaking, but that would be a championship type team, man. There's no doubt about it. It's over. The Lakers will win LeBron will win his 5th championship. Giannis will win his 2nd, and Luka will win his 1st. There's nobody that would be able to stop that. The Warriors would not even be able to stop that. And I'm going to get on them in a minute. But they wouldn't be able to stop that. There's no way. No way, and you know what? They would be able to stop that powerhouse if that was to happen. But I might be wishfully thinking. It might just be a dream. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying it could be a dream, but I'm hoping that the Lakers can get them a star, another star to go along with Luka and LeBron. I don't think LeBron's going to retire just yet. I think LeBron's going to come back and play. This will probably be his last season, this season here, but the Lakers are going to have to make a way to maximize. They're going to try to maximize the team so that Luka and LeBron can be close to an NBA championship. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you why this usually doesn't work. Because when a player announces retirement, listen to what I'm going to tell you. This is what they do. I think Tim Duncan was about the only one that they kept the team the same because I'll talk about the Spurs in a minute. Maximize the team so that they could once again become a competitive team. I don't think the Lakers are going to do that. I think what the Lakers are going to do, they're going to try to go out there and get some more bench. I think you got to let Vando go. I think Gabe Vincent has to go. You need to figure out who do you need as a solid backup point guard. I'll tell you somebody that they could get. If you look at the New York Knicks, Cameron Payne would make a great backup for Luka Doncic in LA, excuse me. You don't need to go back and recycle Spencer Dinwiddie. You don't need to try to get Mark Williams. Mark Williams is trolling and all that stuff there. He's trolling and they didn't even sniff the playoffs. That's what I hate, man. You want to troll, but your team wasn't even good enough. You're looking for lottery balls. Get out of here, man. But it's a disappointment that a 6 seed did beat a 3 seed. That's embarrassing. That's hard to swallow. The T-Wolves were just a better team. Julius Randle played absolutely great. It's going to be interesting to see because I thought that it was going to be the Golden State Warriors playing against them already. It would have been fun to see Ant-Man against Steph Curry. We still might see it, but Golden State is an older team. And I'm going to tell you why I'm saying that. Because Steph Curry is older. Draymond Green is older. Jimmy Butler is older. They should have won last night against the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets should not have beaten them in Oregon. Guess who beat them again in Oregon? Fred VanVleet. If you guys remember Fred VanVleet, remember the name because I got his jersey. Fred VanVleet destroyed the Golden State Warriors 6 years ago in the NBA Finals, along with Kawhi Leonard and Siakam and Marc Gasol and all those boys, and Serge Ibaka, all of them that was on that Raptors team when they rented Kawhi Leonard for that one season. Let me talk about it. Fred VanVleet was the Vinnie Johnson of that series. And for those of you that don't know who Vinnie Johnson is, go back to 1990 NBA Finals and look up a guy by the name of Vinnie the Microwave Johnson. In the series between the Pistons and the Portland Trail Blazers, Vinnie Johnson, Game 6, hit one of the greatest shots in the Detroit Pistons series against the Portland Trail Blazers. And they sent Clyde Drexler, one of the greatest players of the game, sent him to the house. Sent him packing. He was out of there. He was gone. Clyde the Glide lost that series because Vinnie Johnson hit one of the greatest shots in the game. And Fred VanVleet was doing that to Golden State in the 2019 NBA Finals. coming off the bench, launching them. Fred had played absolutely great. That was his season. And last night in Houston, they went to Golden State and they beat them. The problem is they don't have a solution for Sun Gun and for Steven Adams. That's their problem. That's why they can't beat them. That's why they're having a hard time playing against a team like that is absolutely just too big for them. That's why they can't beat them. But I think the Warriors can beat them. And let me say this about me and my boy, shout out to my boy Slate. We used to talk about this a long time ago in playoffs. Older teams need to get those teams out of there quick. They can't be hanging around playing 6, 7 games with somebody, because what happens is they get burnt out. The next series, they're burnt out. Golden State, if Golden State wins this series tomorrow, which I think they probably will, but if they lose, this is going to be a huge blow to the NBA, because everybody's going to get robbed of the matchup between Ant-Man and Steph Curry. And I think the league wants Steph Curry versus Ant-Man. But is Steph Curry going to be up for the challenge to play against Ant-Man? That's going to be a huge situation there. Draymond Green and Julius Randle, that's going to be interesting. You're going to have a matchup with Rudy Gobert. Who's going to stop Rudy Gobert on Golden State? Nobody. Rudy Gobert is going to eat everything up when it comes off the rim. Draymond Green cannot hold Rudy Gobert. But guess what? That's going to be a nice little situation, because remember, those two got into a fight last year. But I'm saying that could possibly be what we see, Golden State versus Minnesota. Or we could see Houston against against Minnesota. That would be interesting. Jalen Green versus Ant-Man. Steven Adams versus Rudy Gobert. Very interesting situations there, man. But it's gonna be a huge disappointment if Golden State loses tomorrow to Houston in Houston. Steph Curry has got to play lights out in order for them to win this game tomorrow, and they're on the road, so they've got to figure out a way to win that series. Close out Houston, but I think Houston could possibly win that game tomorrow. We'll see. Tonight, Game 7 is the Clippers versus the Nuggets. It's a shame that one of these two teams are going to be going home. Kawhi Leonard and James Harden may be going home in the first round. We may see a team that was the world champions just 2 seasons ago end up getting eliminated in the first round. And I'm talking about the Denver Nuggets. I don't care what nobody says. Joker is a bad brother, man. That's a bad mother. Nikola Jokic, I call him the Joker. He's unstoppable, man. He looks like he plays lazy ball, but he doesn't. Now that Murray done bossed up, now that, Porter Jr. and them doing that thing a little bit, Aaron Gordon, the Clippers are going to have to figure out a way to stop him. Norman Powell's good. They got Dunn out there. He's good. But, man, you got to figure out how y'all going to stop Joker. I ain't going to lie. Zubac has been playing absolutely great. Shout out to B.Ray, because I know the Clippers is his team. But I'm here to tell you. I am here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this right here. It is going to be phenomenal tonight in Denver. They are ready for the Clippers, and the Clippers are ready for them. James Harden. Let me say this here. James Harden has got to prove to everybody that he does not need to be a choke artist again, because this guy is one of the greatest choke artists in the game. And I'm not talking about James Harden like that, but he's a great guy off camera. and off court, but on that court, he chokes. He chokes when it comes down to winning series. James Harden is the reason why in that game 7 a few years ago, when Kevin Durant was out with an injury and Kevin Durant was hurt, that the Houston Rockets should have went to the NBA Finals against the Golden State Warriors that year. They matched up absolutely phenomenal with the Golden State Warriors. And James Harden choked. The year before that, they were in the first round against the San Antonio Spurs, if I'm not mistaken, one series against the Spurs. Choked. James Harden is one of the best players in the game. James Harden don't need to be going for this. He don't need to have this. James Harden did nothing in Brooklyn. When it was him, Kyrie, and KD, he did nothing. Did nothing. Nothing. At the time he was injured, but still. Not every year he's injured. This is one of the most durable guys in the game. If James Harden had it his way, he would play all 82 games. He asked, what is load management? He said, what that is. I don't go for that. I play. That's exactly what he did. That's exactly what he said. It's interesting. It is very interesting to see what happens in these games tonight, because that's tonight's game. Speaking of San Antonio, I want to give my respects to, Coach Pop. This man is a champion coach, 5 championships, 6 NBA finals, coach of the year, coached some of the great San Antonio Spurs players, Tim Duncan, of course, David Robinson, Manu Ginobili, Kawhi Leonard, Tony Parker, Michael Finley, who won a championship there, Robert Horry won a championship under Pop. Some great guys that went to San Antonio. Victor, Wemby was under Coach Pop. De'Aaron Fox was under the leadership of Pop until he, ended up getting kind of under the weather. So Pop is retired from the coaching, but he still will be a part of the Spurs organization. And I would just like to say to Pop, you deserve every accolade that you get. You were a tough coach, but you were able to get the job done. You had a great coaching rivalry with Phil Jackson. And you, my friend, deserves it. So, congratulations to Pop. Speaking of coaches, let's talk about the Miami Heat for a minute. And then I'll get into the second round matchup between Indy and Cleveland, and Boston and New York. Wow, those are some great matchups right there. OKC's waiting on the winner of the Clippers and the Nuggets. I'll tell you like this here. If Denver wins this series, it's going to be a shootout against OKC. I'm going to tell you that right now, because OKC and Denver had some great regular season games this year, especially those 2 back-to-backs they had against each other. Miami Heat. Heat culture has been torched. And I'm going to tell you why. Pat Riley is irritating the organization of the Miami Heat. I don't care what anybody tells you. I don't care what anybody says. Pat Riley, from what our eyes seeing and from what we're hearing, because the fans hear it too, you need to remove yourself from the Heat culture. It's time for you to go home. And I would never, ever say this about a great guy like Pat Riley. Pat Riley, I grew up watching Pat Riley. I've watched Pat Riley with Magic and the Lakers. I watched Pat Riley with Alonzo Mourning and the Heat. I watched Pat Riley with the New York Knicks. I have watched Pat Riley win a championship in Miami as the coach with Shaq and D Wade and Jason Williams and Antoine Walker and and Haslam and all those boys that played for that team, that great Miami team back in 2006. Eric Spoelstra has been the champion, has been the coach. This man has been to the NBA Finals all 4 seasons that LeBron was there. Eric Spoelstra has been in 6 NBA Finals. Listen to what I'm going to tell you. As a coach. And has only won 2. Has only won 2 championships. And those 2 were with LeBron, D. Wade, and Bosh. And Shane Battier and Ray Allen and Mario Chalmers and all those boys. Because that was one of my favorite Heat teams. He's gotten there twice with Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and Bam. 5 years ago, they went up against LeBron James in LA, even though it was during the pandemic. The Lakers still won the championship. I don't care what anybody says or what they want to do or what they want to call it. They call it a bubble championship all they want. It was still a championship. People were still competing for a championship. I don't care what people say. They need to criticizing LeBron and the Lakers for winning that championship. They won it. Bottom line of it, they won. Stop it. Stop with that. The man won 4 championships, and they won the 2020 NBA championship, even though it was in Disney in Florida. They still won. You can't take that away from them. I don't care what people say about the bubble, but guess what? The bubble was a championship. It was still competing. There were still teams playing. Nobody said nothing about that when the Dodgers won the World Series during the pandemic. Nobody said nothing about that at all. The Dodgers won just as well as the Lakers did that year. So stop it. Stop, folks. Stop it. But they challenged LeBron, Eric Spoelstra, Jimmy Butler, Bam, Tyler Hero. Then they got back there again when they played Denver 2 years ago. They played Denver. Same core guys out there. Same core guys. Guess what happened? They lost. Now my thing is this. Eric Spoelstra is the only long tenured coach in the NBA right now. Because Eric Spoelstra has been coaching the Miami Heat team for over 12, 13 years? The man has won 2 championships and gotten the Heat to 6 NBA finals. They have been in 6 Eastern Conference finals. But he's 2 for 4 when it comes down to NBA championships, to the NBA finals. I think it's time to shake him up, man. I really do. I think you leave Bam, you keep Tyler Hero, you keep Javier, and may keep Kevin Love. But the rest of those guys you got out there, besides the rookies, you need to bust that team up, man. You need to bust Miami up. Miami had no business being in a playoff series against a team that was way outmatched for them. The Cavaliers were too good for the Miami Heat this year in the playoffs. Same way with Memphis going up against OKC. I don't care what John Morant said. He talking about he figured them out. No, you didn't. You ain't figured them out. You got hurt, but you ain't figured them out. Those boys are some monsters, beasts. And next series, whoever they play, whether it's the Clippers or the Nuggets, they're going to be tested in the next series. Because I'm going to tell you like this here. The Denver Nuggets as well as the Clippers are going to try to stop your second best player, and that's Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams is going to be held by either a guy like Aaron Gordon, or he's going to be held by a guy by the name of Kawhi Leonard. One or two. One of those guys are going to have the mission and the task to stop Jalen Williams. They're not going to stop SGA. They're not going to, you can't stop him. But they're going to try to make him beat them. He's going to have to be the one he's going to have to put up 40 in every game, even though he does that almost every night, close to it, 50 or something like that. But he's going to have to put up 40 each night to beat either the Clippers or the Nuggets. That's just the whole bottom line of it. But as for the Heat culture, I think it's time for the Heat culture, ladies and gentlemen. They need to do some reviewing. They need to do some reviewing like a lot of these teams. They need to do some revamping, revamping, and things like this. They got to get this thing back to where it is. Heat culture has been torched. And it's because of what Pat Riley did to Jimmy Butler, man. You know, that's part of it. You've got guys out there that are not, you know, into the game like that. Tyler Hero talking all that stuff, and his game didn't even back up what his talk was. You just got outmatched against a better team. And I'll tell you like this, and again, I'll say this again, with all due respect. They had no business playing up against them. People would have wanted to see Atlanta versus Cleveland more than Miami versus Cleveland. The results would have probably been the same if Atlanta would have played, but you know Trae Young was going to come out there and bring it. And it just didn't happen. But other than that, though, tomorrow's matchup, the beginning of a new series, which is Indy versus Cleveland. This goes back to when Paul George and the Pacers played against LeBron James and the Cavs. And they had a tremendous 7-game series back in 2018 where they were 4 against 5, but this was a first-round matchup. LeBron James hit buzzer beaters against these guys. It's very interesting to see what happens now. Because I'm going to tell you like this here. Tyrese Halliburton is going to be a problem for the Cavs. But guess who's going to be a problem for the Pacers? Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Ty Jerome, Hunter, can I keep going? Jared Allen. Man, these boys, I'm telling you, man, Cleveland is something serious, man. Very serious. Better keep your eye out, man. How many games? I think this series is going to probably go 6. And I think that game 6 in Indy is where Cleveland's going to end it. And they're going to be going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm telling you, I just don't see it, man. I just don't see Indy beating them, even if Donovan Mitchell gets injured for a few games. The way that these guys play, man, come on, man. Garland was injured last series, and they still swept the Miami Heat. But Tyrese Halliburton and Siakam and, Miles Turner, they're going to be a threat, but they're not going to be a threat big as the guys that Cleveland got, man. I'm just telling you, they're going to be a huge problem. I think Cleveland will win this series. I'm giving them 6. I might change it later on in the week. I might say 5, man, because I do think Indy will win one game in their building. Cleveland can't go in overconfident, because if they do go in overconfident, they're not going to beat them. They're probably going to lose a game in Cleveland if they go in there overconfident. You cannot go overconfident against a team like Indy. Indy's a great team, and we're going to see what happens when that series. This would have been very, very better, more interesting if it would have been Milwaukee, because I would have loved to see Giannis try to go up against those boys, and Dame and Mitchell would have been real good to see, but it didn't happen that way again. But this is going to be interesting. Indy versus Cleveland. I do think Cleveland will lose game, either game 3 or game 4. I think Cleveland will lose it. I think Cleveland probably go up 3-0 and Indy wins game 4. But I think this series, I think it will be Cleveland in either 5 or 6. I'm just saying 6, but I think they'll probably end it in their building. So I'll go 5. I'll go 5. Boston, New York. Let me say this. Boston has been beating the brakes off of New York all season, even in the regular season. The first game of the season, man, they beat them by, 39? Something like that, because they were hitting threes the whole night. I'm going to say depends on the health of Jalen Brunson and the health of Jaylen Brown and Tatum, because they're kind of banged up right now. I think that they will win the series. Boston will win this series in 6. I think they can go into New York and win game 6. The Celtics are not gonna lag this series longer than it needs to be. I think New York will be second round exit, but I think Boston will probably beat them in 6. I'm giving them 6. I'm giving Boston 6 over New York. I think it's going to be exciting. Jalen Brunson's going to play lights out. Cat's going to be going up against Tatum and Brown. Josh Hart's going to be in there talking crap. We're going to see a old school rivalry with New York and the Celtics. Goes back to the days of Patrick Ewing versus Larry Bird. Very interesting. Harry Larry, like they used to say back in the Dream Team days. Interesting. We'll see how that turns out. But now we're down to what? The final 8. This is what we're down to 8 now. We're down to 8 teams in the playoffs. We're going to figure out who's going to play who tonight. We're going to find out who plays OKC on the road, because it's going to be a road game for either the Clippers or for the Denver Nuggets. It's going to be sad, like I said, because one of those great teams are going to have to go home. Going to go home in the first round. Like tomorrow, we're going to see who's going to go up against Ant-Man, because Minnesota is going to be either hosting a game against Golden State, or they're going to be flying to Houston for game 1. So we'll see what happens with that as well. Very interesting, man. NBA playoffs are exciting. I'm just waiting on the guys so we can probably go on Instagram Live and do our semi-cast where we all put our input in on the playoffs. It's going to be sooner. I would love to do it before the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference Finals, and just let us all just talk about it for a night, have some fun with it and things like that. Still waiting. What is there to talk about? Not talking about baseball right now. That's it, ladies and gentlemen, for the day on Saturday. I know I was on for a while here, like over an hour, but I just wanted to come on and talk to you guys on a Saturday. Give you guys my thoughts on wrestling, the releases, and on the NBA playoffs, things like that. So you guys enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy the NBA tonight. Enjoy the NHL playoffs. Enjoy Major League Baseball. Also enjoy AEW's Collision, which comes on tonight. And enjoy the Clippers versus the Nuggets, Game 7 tonight. You guys have a good Saturday, a blessed Saturday, and I'll talk to you guys soon. I love you all. Bye.